My cheating wife came home smiling after her one-night stand, but the moment she looked at the TV and saw footage exposing her affair, the smile vanished from her face. She realized I'd known the truth all along. Hello Reddit, I plus here. I honestly don't know if I'm posting this because I want advice or because I need to get this out of my head. For months, I've replayed that night over and over, wondering if there was something I could have done differently. Maybe I missed obvious signs. Maybe I trusted too much. Maybe I was just the last person willing to believe my marriage was falling apart. I'm 39 years old. My ex-wife Allison is 37. We were together for 14 years, married for 9, and have two amazing children, a 9-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. Until everything collapsed, I genuinely believed we had a solid marriage. Sure, life wasn't exciting every day. We had bills, busy careers, school pickups, soccer practice, doctor appointments, laundry that somehow multiplied overnight, the usual chaos that comes with raising a family. But I thought we were a team. Whenever friends complained about their spouses, I would quietly think how lucky I was. I trusted Allison completely. She worked as an event coordinator for a large hospitality company. Her job involved organizing conferences, corporate dinners, and charity galas all over the city. Sometimes she'd stay overnight if events ended late, and I never questioned it. Why would I? She had never given me a reason not to trust her. Or at least that's what I believed. Looking back now, I can see the changes started almost a year before everything exploded. It was subtle. She became obsessed with the gym. She started buying designer clothes she'd never wear around me. Her phone was never out of her hand. She changed every password she had. She began sleeping with the phone under her pillow instead of leaving it on the nightstand. If I walked into the room unexpectedly, she'd immediately turn the screen off. Whenever I asked who she was texting, she'd laugh and say, "Work never leaves me alone." I believed her. I always believed her. My sister noticed before I did. One afternoon, while helping us paint our living room, she casually asked me if Allison had gotten a promotion. I said no. Then why is she dressing like she's trying to impress somebody every day? I laughed it off. I even defended my wife. She's just feeling more confident. My sister shrugged. I hope that's all it is. I wish I had listened. About 4 months later, Allison told me she'd been selected to coordinate a 3-day executive leadership summit at one of the nicest hotels downtown. She was excited, or at least she acted excited. She talked nonstop about networking opportunities and potential promotions. She said all the organizers would be staying at the hotel because events would continue well into the night. It sounded perfectly reasonable. I even helped her pack. I folded her dresses, ironed one of her blouses, carried her suitcase to the car. She hugged the kids, she kissed me. She smiled and said, "I'll miss you guys." Those words haunt me now. The first day went exactly as expected. She texted photos of conference rooms, coffee breaks, presentation slides, name badges. Everything looked normal. The second day was different. The replies became shorter. Hours would pass before she'd answer. Around dinner time, she said the executives had organized a private client dinner. At 10, she texted that everyone was heading upstairs for drinks. Just before midnight, she wrote, "Going to bed. Love you." I replied, "Love you too." That message still sits in my phone. The last honest thing either of us ever said to each other. Around 1 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. Something didn't feel right. Call it instinct. Call it anxiety. Whatever it was, it refused to let me close my eyes. I turned on the television just to distract myself. Every local station was covering breaking news. Apparently, a celebrity investor had been arrested after a violent altercation during a charity gala at the exact same hotel where Allison was staying. Reporters filled the screen, police cars lined the entrance, guests were being interviewed outside. I watched without thinking much about it. Then the station announced they had obtained surveillance footage showing the lobby before officers arrived. The video began playing. People walked through the lobby carrying shopping bags. Business executives checked in. Hotel staff rushed around preparing for the gala. Then I saw someone who looked strangely familiar. I leaned closer. My heart immediately started pounding. It couldn't be. I rewound the recording. Played it again. There she was, my wife, not alone, walking into the hotel, holding hands with a man I'd never seen before. They weren't just walking beside each other. They were laughing. His hand rested comfortably on the small of her back. She leaned into him. They stopped near the elevators. He whispered something. She smiled. Then she kissed him. Not a quick greeting, not a misunderstanding. A long, unmistakable kiss between two people who clearly believed nobody was watching. My stomach dropped. I sat frozen on the couch. Maybe there was another explanation. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. No, there wasn't. The camera followed them toward the front desk. They checked in together. One room key, one elevator, one destination. The timestamp on the footage matched almost perfectly with the text message she'd sent me saying she was heading to bed after a long meeting. I couldn't even cry. I just sat there staring at the television while my entire life fell apart in complete silence. I don't know how long I stayed there, maybe an hour, maybe longer. Around 2:30 in the morning, I heard her car pull into the driveway. My heartbeat became strangely calm, almost numb. The front door opened. She walked inside, smiling. Actually, smiling. She looked happier than I'd seen her in months. She quietly removed her heels, placed her purse on the counter, then she noticed me sitting in the dark. She jumped slightly. "Oh, you're awake. I couldn't sleep." She laughed softly. "The conference ran late." I didn't answer. She kept talking. The keynote speaker wouldn't stop asking questions. Still nothing from me. Then everyone wanted drinks afterward. She walked over and kissed my forehead. "I missed you." I simply looked at the television. It was still paused. The image showed her wrapped in another man's arms inside the hotel lobby. Her eyes followed mine. The smile disappeared instantly. Every bit of color drained from her face. She whispered one word. "No." I picked up the remote. Without saying anything, I pressed play. The surveillance footage continued. There she was, laughing, holding hands with him, kissing him, checking into the elevator together. When the clip ended, I paused it again. The silence inside our house felt unbearable. She finally found her voice. "I can explain," I nodded. "I'm sure you practiced that speech during the drive home." Tears immediately filled her eyes. "It isn't what it looks like." I stared at the frozen image. "My wife is kissing another man on live television." I looked back at her. "So tell me, what exactly does it look like?" She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Then the excuses began. "We've been having problems." I felt ignored. "You've been working too much." I wasn't thinking. "It only happened once." Every sentence somehow blamed everything except the person who made the decision. I listened without interrupting. When she finally finished, I quietly asked one question. "Did you think I would never find out?" She looked down at the floor. I didn't think." "Exactly. You didn't think. You didn't think about me. You didn't think about our children. You didn't think about 14 years together. You only thought about yourself." She started crying harder. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That hurt her more than anything I'd said. "I made a mistake." "No. A mistake is forgetting our anniversary. A mistake is buying the wrong birthday present. This," I pointed toward the television, "required hundreds of decisions. You chose to text him. You chose to meet him. You chose to lie. You chose to check into that hotel. You chose every single step." She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. "I never wanted to lose you," I quietly answered. "That wasn't your decision to make anymore." Then I stood up, walked upstairs, and packed a small suitcase for myself and the kids. She followed me through the hallway, begging me to stop, begging me to forgive her, promising counseling, promising transparency, promising she would never speak to him again. Every promise came too late, because trust doesn't disappear in 1 second. It breaks one lie at a time, and by the time I saw her smiling on that television screen, there wasn't anything left to save. I barely slept that night. After packing clothes for myself and the kids, I locked myself inside my son's room. He and his little sister were still asleep, completely unaware that their world had changed while they dreamed. Outside the bedroom door, Allison cried for what felt like hours. Sometimes she begged, sometimes she apologized, sometimes she blamed herself. Then she'd circle back to blaming stress, work, loneliness, and anything else she could think of. None of it mattered anymore. Around 6 in the morning, I quietly woke the kids. "Why are we up so early?" my son asked, rubbing his eyes. "We're going to Grandma's for a little while." He smiled. "Can we have pancakes?" "Absolutely." He had no idea I was trying not to fall apart. While the kids got dressed, Allison stood in the hallway looking exhausted. Her makeup from the night before had smeared across her face, and she looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight. She tried to hug our daughter. Our daughter hugged her back without hesitation. Watching that nearly broke me. Children love without conditions. Adults complicate everything. As we loaded the car, Allison grabbed my arm. "Please don't do this. I'm not leaving forever. I just need space." She shook her head frantically. "I'll quit my job." I didn't answer. "I'll block him." Still nothing. "I'll do counseling." I finally looked at her. "You should have thought about counseling before you booked a hotel room." She burst into tears again. I drove away without looking back. My mother welcomed us without asking questions. She could tell from my face that something terrible had happened. After the kids went outside to play, I told her everything. She didn't interrupt. She didn't gasp. She simply listened. When I finished, she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm so sorry." Those 4 words meant more than every apology Allison would later give me. Around noon, my phone exploded. 32 missed calls, 57 text messages, dozens of voicemails. Some were apologies, some were declarations of love. Some simply said, "Please, answer." I didn't. Instead, I called a divorce attorney recommended by a coworker. The receptionist scheduled me for the very next morning. That afternoon, I received another unexpected phone call. The number was unfamiliar. I almost ignored it. I'm looking for Matthew. This is him. My name is Grant. I'm the director of human resources at your wife's company. Immediately, my stomach tightened. I know this is awkward, he said carefully, but I believe you deserve to know what's happening. Apparently, the affair hadn't just violated our marriage, it had violated company policy. The man Allison had spent the night with wasn't just another employee. He was one of the senior executives overseeing her department. The relationship had been hidden for months. Several employees had reported suspicious behavior, late-night meetings, private dinners, business trips that weren't actually business trips. The hotel surveillance shown on television had forced the company to investigate immediately. Both of them had been suspended pending the outcome. I thanked him and hung up. I wasn't happy, I wasn't celebrating, I just felt empty. Late that evening, Allison showed up at my mother's house. She looked completely different from the confident woman who'd walked through our front door smiling less than 24 hours earlier. Her hair was tied back, no makeup, red, swollen eyes. She carried a stuffed dinosaur, our son's favorite. I just want to see the kids. I stepped outside and closed the front door behind me. They're eating dinner. I miss them. You've been gone one day. I know. Her voice cracked. I miss all of you. For a moment, we simply stood there. Neighbors mowed lawns, children rode bicycles. Life continued like nothing had happened. Finally, she whispered, I called him. I already knew who she meant. What did he say? Her eyes filled with tears. He told me not to contact him anymore. I wasn't surprised, she continued. He said his marriage is over too. I blinked. What? He's married. That caught me completely off guard. She nodded. I didn't know at first. You expect me to believe that? I found out later, and stayed anyway. She couldn't answer. That silence told me everything. He blocked my number this morning. She looked completely defeated. He said we made a terrible mistake. I couldn't help it. A bitter laugh escaped me. A mistake? He called your family a mistake? She looked down. No. He called us a mistake. For the first time since discovering everything, I felt something besides sadness, anger, pure anger. She hadn't destroyed our marriage for love. She hadn't left because she'd found her soulmate. She had thrown away 14 years for a man who abandoned her before sunrise. The next morning, I met with my attorney. She listened carefully while reviewing everything I'd brought, phone records, the news footage, screenshots, financial statements. Then she asked one question. Has she admitted the affair? Several times. She smiled professionally. That simplifies things. As I stood to leave, my phone buzzed again. It was Allison. Just one sentence. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to fix what I broke. I stared at the message for several seconds. Then I locked my phone. Some things no amount of time can ever fix. And I was beginning to realize that the hardest part wasn't ending the marriage. It was accepting that the woman I loved had stopped protecting it long before I knew it was in danger.